My mother's answer phone has one message on it from 1997 that nobody is allowed to play. It lived on the hallway table my whole life. A beige box with a cassette inside plugged into a wall socket we were never allowed to unplug, next to a phone we hadn't used since I was a teenager. "Don't touch that," Mum said, every single time. If I so much as rested my hand on it, she'd cross the room fast. "Leave it. It doesn't even ring anymore." I said, "Leave it, Erin." When I was 9, I asked what the flashing red light meant. She told me it meant a message was saved, and that saved messages were private, and that was the end of it. When I was 15, I asked whose message it was. She left the room. When I was 22 and my stepfather Colin laughed and said, "Your mother and her museum piece," she went white and didn't speak to him for the rest of the night. So I stopped asking. You learn where the walls are in a house. Mum died in March. It was fast, 6 weeks from the diagnosis. Near the end, she gripped my wrist and I thought she was going to finally tell me something, but all she said was, "The machine. When Colin's not there." "What about it?" "When he's not there," she said again, and then a nurse came in, and then there wasn't a later. Colin didn't cry at the funeral. He kept checking his watch. Afterward, he told me the house was his now, obviously, and I could take sentimental bits before he sold it. I went back on a Tuesday when I knew he'd be at the golf club. The hallway smelled like her. The machine was still there, red light blinking, patient. I hadn't touched it in years and my hand was shaking when I finally pressed the button. A mechanical voice. "You have one saved message. Received Friday, the 10th of October, 1997, 9:40 p.m. Then my mother's voice, young, whispering, terrified. "Please, if anyone gets this, it's Marie. I'm at the house. He's downstairs. He's been drinking and he found the divorce papers and he's saying he'll—" A crash distant, her breath catching. He put his hands round my throat. I got away. I locked the bathroom door. "But he's coming up. If something happens to me, it was Colin. It was Colin. Tell them it was." The line went dead. I sat down on the hallway floor. 1997. My mother had recorded a message onto her own answering machine from inside a locked bathroom, naming the man she'd marry a year later, the man who raised me, the man who called it her museum piece. She'd survived that night. I never knew it happened, and she'd kept the evidence humming in the hallway for 27 years, where he walked past it every day, never knowing what it held, because she was too frightened to be believed and too frightened to let it go. I heard the front door. "Thought I'd find you here." Colin filling the doorway, golf shoes still on. He looked at the machine, then at my face, and something shifted in him. "What are you doing?" "Playing a message," I said. "From 1997. He went very still. "That's private. That's your mother's. She told me to play it when you weren't here." I pressed the button again. My mother's whisper filled the hall. It was Colin. His face collapsed and rebuilt itself into something calm and awful. She was hysterical. "That was a bad night. We both said things. You had your hands round her throat. You have no idea what your mother was like." He took a step. "Give me the tape, Erin." "No. Give me the tape." Another step, and I saw it then, the same thing she must have seen. The reason she locked a door and whispered a name. He lunged. But I'd stopped being 9 years old about 4 minutes earlier. My phone was already on the table beside me, screen lit, the number already dialed, the call already connected. I'd rung them from the floor before I pressed play the second time. "She's recording," I said. "Everything you just said." They heard all of it. He froze with his hand out. The officer on speaker said, calm and clear, "Colin Hartley, stay exactly where you are. A car's 90 seconds out." He didn't run. There was nowhere in that hallway to run to. He just lowered himself into the chair by the phone table, under the blinking red light, and put his head in his hands, while my mother's voice, 27 years old and finally loud enough, kept saying his name.